putting to market in these larger metro areas. We're talking Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, Dallas, Nashville, Memphis, Oklahoma City, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Phoenix, and the list goes on. Now, I used to think that it was impossible to wholesale a deal at retail price. In this video, I'm going to break down a strategy on how you can begin implementing this process in your business immediately. Let's go. We all know that we're standing in a hyper-competitive real estate market. In fact, just about any house that gets listed on the MLS gets multiple offers above asking price. All of a sudden, we're seeing tons of money being pumped into the economy and a buying frenzy taking place. This is unparamount. In fact, I don't believe we've ever seen this before in any type of real estate market. So what we found is if we can capitalize this and build a strategy around it, you can maximize your efforts as well. So there's a lot of big hedge funds that have entered into these markets, as many of you probably already know. The key is finding the people that have relationships with these big funds and streamlining a process so you can essentially reverse engineer the properties that they want to buy before you even start marketing. So what we've done internally is we've dissected all of these buy boxes. We've broken it down strategically by zip code. So we're targeting only houses that we know these retail hedge fund buyers are purchasing. So at the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and break it down using PropStream, where we can do a step-by-step process on how I'm taking the data. I'm going to show you guys the zip codes, show you the roadmap, and pull the data so we can release that to our cold callers and start dispersing our marketing today. So this virtual wholesaling model we're putting to market in these larger metro areas. We're talking Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, Dallas, Nashville, Memphis, Oklahoma City, Tampa Bay, Jacksonville, Phoenix, and the list goes on. Now what we've done is had our hedge fund contact aggregate a list of data where we've pulled out the exact zip codes where they're aggressively buying. If we find any property that's slightly below retail value, meaning $10,000 below a Zestimate, then we're in a position where we can negotiate with the seller and capitalize on that opportunity. When you break down these numbers, we're literally netting probably 3 times the amount of a normal wholesale deal. Kid you not. This is unparamount. This is something that we've really never seen or experienced before. Let's go ahead and jump behind the computer where we can pull up PropStream, and I'll reverse engineer the data, pulling some information so we can release that to the cold call team and start marketing today. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in and start pulling some data to start hitting these funds. So what we've done, we've completely pivoted our entire business model to target specific buy boxes for this retail fund. Why? Because they're paying way more money than any other cash buyer or institutional investor that we've ever worked with, right? Pretty incredible opportunity. Now, there's a lot of good data providers out there. PropStream has been the best results for us personally inside of our business. They've developed a lot of relationships with MLS providers nationwide. You have access to motivated seller data, cash buyer data. You can dial it in as laser focused as you want, and it just works good. It's a solid system. I'm guessing most people watching this video probably already have it. If not, you can always access 7-day free trial by going to flipconnectdata.com just to give it a shot, give it a test run. Again, it's one of the top tools that we use in our business every day. But for this training purpose, we're going to go ahead and dial in. Now, this is the buy box for the fund, right? These are all the major metropolitan markets that they're aggressively buying houses. You can see here for each market, you got the max price, the minimum bed count, bath. It's got to be built after a certain year, so on and so forth. Now, we're going to go ahead and pull the data and target Atlanta, for example. You can see all of the max prices that are highlighted in green. We actually have an exception on the maximum price that they're allowing. Why? These are markets they're looking to grow and expand in. And because of that desire, they're willing to go above the maximum price on an as to need basis, right? So for example, let's say we got a house that we're looking to sell for $400,000 in Atlanta. They're definitely going to make an exception, take a look at the numbers, and consider that moving forward. But we'll take all of this data, and when we're actually inputting that into the PropStream system, we're going to pinpoint exactly the type of property profile that we want to hit. To take this a step further, I've had the hedge fund director send me a list of the top performing zip codes. These are the top zip codes that the fund already owns rentals, is currently buying, or has properties in escrow and are looking to expand. So this list is huge. You can see Atlanta, we have a huge list of zip codes going all the way down across the entire city, right? Oklahoma City, same deal. They just bought a huge portfolio package in this market, and they're buying a lot more. So the list goes on. You know, lots of strong zip codes. St. Louis, same deal. Memphis, Nashville, Kansas City, all that stuff, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pull about 4 zip codes at once. I found that when I input that data into PropStream, if I use more than 4 zip codes, in many cases, it leaves out some of the data. I guess it's too large of a number to really dial in. So I'll just copy 4 at a time, plug it in, and then we'll dial in with the targeting. As far as the list you want to hit, lots of opportunities. As we know, as a real estate investor, you always want to target distress. The best performing list that we have found and that we most consistently hit is tired landlords. These are people that have owned a property for likely more than 15 years or greater. Because it's listed as a landlord, the owner probably has a different tax mailing address than the physical property is on. Good chance, because they've owned the property for a little bit longer in ownership, they're getting a little bit older. Good chance they're phasing out of the business, whatever the case might be, right? Solid list. You can also target senior owners. As we know, real estate is very situational. As people get older, they need to downsize, they need to move, think about next steps in their process. That can be a quality list. High equity, free and clear, bankruptcy, divorce, tax delinquents. You got pre-probate properties. These are properties that someone has likely passed away. They've probably filed and opened up the probate file, but it hasn't completely gone through the process. Zombie properties. These are houses that PropStream has stacked all types of situational issues, right? So they probably have a bunch of liens or judgments. There's multiple problems on the property that through pulling public data, PropStream has compiled the list and said, hey, these properties have multiple issues, good list to hit, right? We've hit those, they're good. But what we found when we're hitting the zombie properties, guess what? You open up title work and lo and behold, we got liens, right? So there's always things that need to be worked out towards those. So for this purpose, we're definitely going to hit the tired landlords. As far as owner occupied or not, tired landlord obviously is probably not, but we'll just leave that open for now. Dialing in the property characteristics. This is probably the most important piece of this because we want to make sure that we're targeting just the houses that this fund is looking for, right? We want to reverse engineer the data and make sure that we're hitting those specific properties so we can dial that in. Now, for this one, we want to only hit residential, right? We're not interested in looking at commercial properties or anything else. Property type, single family. Bedrooms, we want a minimum of 3 beds, right? We're referring back to our buy box. 3 bed, 1 bath minimum. Bathrooms, we'll put 1 bath and up. Building size, we know that we're hitting 900 square feet, right? You always reference back to your sheet. 900 square feet, that's exactly what we're dialing in. Year built, We want only houses that were built 1940 and newer. That's all you should have to hit in this area. MLS status. We're not necessarily interested at taking a look at anything that's listed already on the MLS with the realtor. We want to go direct to seller. So we're going to put no. Pre-foreclosure and bank owned, not that important for us. We're going to go ahead and hit this up. See, we got leads coming in from our VA team. Ownership info, years of ownership. In many cases, I would do 15-year minimum, but because we're already targeting this with the landlords, we'll leave that blank. I'm going to go ahead and put individual. There's a lot of good skip tracing companies that will append quality phone numbers with corporate entities, trusts, different things. But for this purpose, we're looking to go direct to seller, direct to individual. If you want to look for someone that's got a portfolio, a ton of properties, obviously you could put, hey, we only want to hit people that have at least 5 properties or greater, right? But for this scenario, we're just going wide. We're casting the net wide. We're spending money on the data and we're hitting it aggressively because why? We know we got a retail fund that's coming in strong. Lien, bankruptcy, divorce, not too concerned about this point, right? We're not looking for ultra distressed. We're just looking for people to raise their hand and say, hey, yes, I'm interested in selling. So when we open up the valuation and equity, in most cases, if I'm targeting a traditional list, not working with this fund, I'll usually do at least 40% equity. Because if you're going to sell a house at a discount, right, the traditional 70% rule is the most commonly known price point in the industry. We all know it's a hyper competitive industry right now, and some markets, people are paying more than that, right? So for this scenario, we're actually only going to put 25% equity. This means sellers at least got a little bit of equity in the property. They could likely walk out with money in their pocket, maximize their equity position, and we can create a win-win situation. I always like to include unknown equity because a lot of you old school investors know that the unknown equity list was like the secret list on ListSource way back in the day. But those unknown equities where sometimes the lien wasn't recorded or even unknown sales date, like those could be hot lists, right? So you can see here as we stacked it, I'll go ahead and copy this so you guys can see it pop up on the screen to really dial in your targeting, giving you a good idea what you're hitting. But that should be all that you really need to hit, right? We see from there in the 4 zip codes that we're targeting, we have 1,967 properties. We'll go ahead and add that to a new list. So we'll just say ATL, retail fund, and we'll go training. Save. Now what we did is we just added these 1,900 properties to our list that we can export that data, send it out to get skip traced, and start targeting it, right? From there, I'll go back to my sheet because we want to pull more data. Depending on what your budget for data is, we spend a lot of money on data. I know everyone's budget is different, but we're basically just coming down the list and we're going to put together a list of, we'll say 5,000 to 10,000 properties, right? So we know the first amount we added was 1,900. We're adding another 17 now. Retail fund training. Boom. We're adding these as we go, right? So I'm going to do that several times till we have roughly the amount that I know we're hitting, right? Copy and paste a few more. Once we have that list together, we're going to go to our property section. We're going to pull up the new list that we just created, the ATL retail fund training. Boom. You're going to click all. You're going to export your data. and then you're going to download it and send it off to get skip traced. Lots of good skip tracing companies out there. We use a couple different providers. We do have a link to Batch Leads, which is an affiliate link that's set up through our account. But Batch Leads gives quality data. They also have a lead stacking platform. So as you grow and expand, data management becomes a big issue, right? You have hundreds of thousands of records that are just sitting there in different files and they're unorganized all over the place. List stacking platforms help you to compile and store your data so that you can quickly access it and record it by date, where you have an efficient system where after you go through one list, go on to the next. As you know, lists can be recycled. You just don't want to do that too many times. So list stacking platforms are awesome. For those of you that don't know it, check links in the description. Batch Leads has an awesome lead stacking platform. I think it's only like $49 a month. You can check out a free trial on that app. But anyways, what we're looking to do here is just aggressively target these markets. And you can see, for example, I'm going to just pull up a couple new opportunities that we've pulled up from the retail fund, right? So we literally got on this Crestline Court property, we literally got retail asking on it. Seller's asking $200,000. If you look on it, quick reference, Zestimate's got it at $283. And if you plug that into NAR or the MLS, just for a second reference on your comp, you can see that the property value is up there as well. $277, right? This is a wholesale deal. So just food for thought. We submitted this deal at $270. Guess what? We got a full price offer at $270. And we got plenty of room in there for budget with rehab numbers and all that stuff. So that's just a quick little example of the opportunities that can be drummed up super quick in some of these larger markets. Just creating incredible opportunities. So hoping you guys can capitalize on this. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on the opportunities that are provided in front of you. I think one of the keys that I have realized in this industry is, in order to succeed, you constantly have to stay on the forefront of the industry, right? You got to see things as they're changing and be able to catch that wave while it's hot. So that's exactly what we're doing with this opportunity. We encourage each and every one of you, if you guys have more questions, you want to connect, reach out, don't hesitate, right? Send us a message in Facebook, shoot me an email, respond to these YouTube videos. Always looking to connect, always looking to see how we can add more value to this network and create win-win situations for one another. As you know, there's value everywhere you look, and that's where it's at. You're going to be compensated directly upon the amount of value that you can bring into the marketplace. So y'all get out there, take action, and let's get some results. For those of you that are looking to connect and partner with us personally, we encourage you to find us on Facebook, send a message, or shoot me a quick email at offers@cashpropertyoffers.com. We can dive in, have a quick strategy call, and go over how we can create more opportunities and maximize this hyper-competitive real estate industry. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. Get out there, keep on pressing forward towards the goal that's been set before you. You've been created with and for a purpose.